the Chicago Bears might have finally cracked the code. 2 off-seasons of hype, a first overall pick, and the NFL's hottest head coach all led to Week 3, when Chicago exploded against America's team and showed just how dangerous they can be. Trick plays, a new wide receiver 1, a locker room celebration straight out of a movie. The Bears look different. But here's the scary truth. This is only the beginning. What we saw in Dallas wasn't their ceiling, it was their floor. A slick touchdown drive to open the 2025 NFL season had Chicago Bears fans dreaming of their much-awaited new golden era of football. However, just a few hours later, those dreams had been replaced by a very familiar feeling of crushing disappointment, as J.J. McCarthy executed a superb come-from-behind victory. Then, 1 week later, a hammering at the hands of the Detroit Lions seemed to all but confirm that this was going to be yet another season of false hope and frustration for those in the Windy City. But when Week 3 arrived, those downtrodden fans saw something truly unheard of. We will get onto the play on the field in a minute, but first, we have to jump ahead to what went down in the locker room after this team's emotional first win of the season over the Dallas Cowboys.
First home victory. You know that guy. Repeat after me now. Good, better, best. Good, better, best. Never let it rest. Never let it rest. Good gets better. Good gets better. And you better get better. You better get better. Bears on 3. 1, 2, 3.
That right there is like a scene from a movie for Bears fans. That kind of joy, passion, and camaraderie that they believed only happened in other locker rooms. Now, obviously, we can't get too carried away. There is a long, long way to go this season, but the early signs, in addition to what went down in the offseason, are pointing towards this not being a one-off. When you factor in the brainpower in the coaching room and the talent now populating this roster, it is clear that these Chicago Bears are finally going to be a problem. And the scary truth behind it all is that it's still early days. They still have plenty of learning and growing to do together, meaning the early flashes are just a glimpse at what the ceiling could be and nowhere near the baseline of what these guys will soon be delivering week in, week out. Of course, we have to start with Caleb Williams. The sophomore quarterback has been far from flawless so far, but that's okay. After all, he is a sophomore. Adjusting to the new Ben Johnson system was always going to take time. The most important thing for Caleb, and for the Bears organization, is that he is still executing those wow plays that remind us why he was the first overall pick last year. And thankfully, there have been plenty of them. Even in the Week 1 loss to Minnesota, this outrageous third down completion to Rome Odunze showed how unique Caleb is. I promise you, there aren't many quarterbacks in the league who can make that play with that power and accuracy on the move. The arm talent was then on full display again in Week 3 against Dallas, reeling in a high pitch back on the flea flicker before unfurling an almighty bomb to rookie Luther Burden for a 65-yard touchdown. These are the kinds of plays that come far easier to Williams than other quarterbacks in the NFL, and they show an upside that can truly terrify defensive coordinators. Where Williams needed to improve was the simpler stuff, and while his accuracy was still spotty in the first 2 weeks of the season, there are definite signs of improvement under Ben Johnson. Caleb's completion percentage ticked up over each of the first 3 games of the season, culminating in his awesome 298-yard, 4-touchdown outing against Dallas, which came on a 67.9% completion rate. Johnson has been helping his quarterback get off to strong starts, with Caleb completing all of his first 10 passes in Week 1 against Minnesota, before completing 10 of his first 13 attempts in Week 2 against Detroit for 86 yards and a score. In Week 3, it was more of the same, completing 5 of his first 8 pass attempts for 135 yards and 2 touchdowns. Everyone knew that Ben Johnson was one of the league's best offensive masterminds, and that is being shown through their strong starts to every game. The problems have come throughout the rest of the game, when they move beyond the early scripted plays. This is where both Caleb and Ben Johnson as a play caller have faltered. But again, we are still very early in their time together, and there have been clear signs of improvement in that area as well. Week 3's comfortable victory over Dallas was the first sign of this, and it is only going to get better as the season progresses. At the end of the day, when you partner up an offensive genius like Johnson and a supremely gifted quarterback like Williams, it is only a matter of time before magic happens. That is especially true when you factor in the impressive array of weapons Williams now gets to play with. First and foremost, the evolution of Rome Odunze as a sophomore has been spectacular. He entered the league with sky-high expectations, offering a rare package of size, speed, and separation ability that justifies the use of a top 10 draft pick. He absolutely fits the bill as an alpha outside receiver who can win as a crafty route runner or by utilizing his size and physicality in contested catch situations. For quarterbacks, guys like this can completely change the game, and it looks like Rome has taken that leap this season. By week 3, he had already surpassed his touchdown tally from his rookie season with 4. His standout performance over that stretch was a 7-catch, 128-yard, 2-touchdown outing against Detroit in week 2, but he has been making big plays in every single game. It was him on the receiving end of that third down conversion we looked at earlier, showing that he already has great chemistry with his quarterback. While Caleb is certainly improving as a passer from the pocket, he's always going to be a guy looking to extend plays and make magic on the move. Therefore, having a big guy like Rome who can be on the same wavelength and find ways to put himself in the perfect spot downfield is very exciting for Bears fans. This quarterback and wide receiver partnership is already looking red hot, and it is only going to get better as they both become more accustomed to the league and the offense they are playing. Expect plenty more highlight reel-worthy plays from these two. On top of that, we are already seeing signs of some other very exciting weapons emerging in Chicago. DJ Moore now has to go down as one of the best number 2 wideouts in the NFL, having surpassed the 1,000-yard mark in 4 of his last 6 seasons, only narrowly missing out on a 5th 1,000-yard season last year. He can be used in so many different ways, and it is very exciting to see Ben Johnson already getting creative with him. There's no doubt that Johnson is the best equipped coach in the NFL to create nightmare mismatches with Moore, both as a receiver and a runner. Week 3 also treated Chicago fans to a first proper look at their exciting new rookie pass catchers. After not appearing much in the first 2 weeks of the season, 10th overall selection Colston Loveland made a statement early with a big 31-yard reception on the Bears' second drive of the day, which ultimately helped set up a touchdown. While we are still having to wait a bit longer to see Johnson's fully unleashed plans for him, we have now already had a glimpse at what second-round rookie Luther Burden can bring to the table. It was Burden who was on the receiving end of Caleb Williams' flea flicker, but he also touched the ball 3 more times in the game, collecting 108 total yards from scrimmage to comfortably lead the team. Burden had a few red flags on his prospect profile, which caused him to fall to the second round of the 2025 draft. But nobody was denying that he had incredible talent. He is very strong, very fast, and insanely explosive, meaning he is always a big play waiting to happen, just like we saw in week 3. Again, just like DJ Moore, the idea of this athletic profile operating within a Ben Johnson offense is mouthwatering to think about. Between Odunze, Moore, Burden, Loveland, and Cole Kmet, the other tight end who we haven't even discussed yet, it's fair to say that Caleb Williams really does have an embarrassment of riches at his disposal. Ben Johnson earned the label of hottest head coach on the market by producing a historically good offense for the Detroit Lions, which was something that fan base probably thought was never going to happen after decades of hurt. Now, in Chicago, he is responsible for giving hope to another downtrodden franchise, and he just so happens to have curated a similarly enticing group of offensive weapons to help him do it, albeit much earlier in their development. With him pulling the strings and these young playmakers growing together, it surely won't be long before the Chicago Bears are one of the most dominant offenses in the entire NFL. Now, for all that there is to be excited about in Chicago, it is worth noting a couple of slightly weaker areas. The offensive line is still a work in progress, although it was always going to take time for new arrivals Drew Dahlman and Joe Thuney to adjust to their new surroundings. At least the upgrades did arrive over the offseason, and Caleb should be better protected moving forward, as he was in week 3, which was the first time this team didn't concede a sack since November 2023. At running back, however, no such upgrades arrived at all, other than 7th round rookie Kyle Monangai. Monangai has certainly shown flashes of being a useful contributor, but at 5'8", he is not exactly the kind of guy you would expect to carry a heavy workload. In Detroit, a running back duo of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery operated as the focal point of the offense. In Chicago, Johnson has no such luxury, with Swift averaging under 4 yards per carry since joining the team in 2024. Ironically, he was in Detroit when Johnson took over as offensive coordinator, and one of the first things Johnson did was get Swift traded away. It was one of the biggest surprises of the offseason to not see Chicago invest significant capital at the running back position. In the short term, perhaps we will see more of DJ Moore on running plays. But in the long term, this is surely an area where we will see big changes for Chicago. Because for as good as this offense looks already, the idea of bringing in 1 or 2 dominant running backs should get Chicago fans even more excited about just how epic this offense could look. It will surely be a priority over the 2026 offseason, or perhaps we may well see a trade during the regular season. Defensively, there were very promising signs for the Chicago Bears after an up-and-down first 2 weeks of the season. Against Dallas, they produced 4 takeaways, which was the most they have managed since the 2023 season. Unfortunately, they will be without Kyler Gordon for most of the season, but there were at least signs of an improved unit in that Week 3 outing against Dallas. Again, these guys will be expecting improvements as they adjust to the Dennis Allen system. So yes, the Bears are young, raw, and still ironing out the flaws. But the scary truth is this: with Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson, and this arsenal of weapons, the flashes we've seen so far are just the tip of the iceberg. If this is what Chicago looks like in September, imagine what they'll be by December. Do you think this is the start of a new golden era in the Windy City? Or are Bears fans getting ahead of themselves? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more NFL content all season long.